been good, man. Mentally, spiritually. I've been on top of my... I'll be back out there, you hear me?
When Durk called in live to DJ Academic's webcast, he was certain he would go home, but the court case shows differently. As it is, he is yet to be released on bail, and his lawyer's attempt to get the case dropped seems to be failing in spite of a wealth of evidence.
One of the evidence they allegedly presented to a grand jury, they're claiming is entirely false.
Rumor has it that Durk stormed out of the courtroom because things have become behind the scenes. Let's talk about the current legal disputes and the purported courtroom incident. Currently facing major federal charges, the Chicago drill goat, whose legal name is Durk Devontae Banks, was allegedly snatched by the FBI in October 2024 as he tried to board a private plane in Florida. One of the claims is that op rapper Rondo was the victim of a murder-for-hire scheme. In August 2022, alias Lou Pab was murdered in Los Angeles. Even though Durk's team has offered large paper for bond packages that include $2.3 million in equity and another $1 million in cash, which is a big figure, proving the seriousness of these allegations, Durk has remained confined there ever since and has been denied bail. He pled not guilty to all federal charges in November 2024, and a trial was initially set for January 2025, but was moved to October due to the case's complexity. The current status of Durk's legal battle is as follows. On April 18, 2025, his lawyers submitted a motion to dismiss the entire charge, arguing that the prosecutors had used song lyrics as evidence in an unethical manner. This is a pivotal point in the case that brings the entire argument around it to light. According to court filings from 2025, they had to go through 20,000 pages of documentation and more than 230 gigabytes of digital evidence, 7 months before the shooting. Durk's legal team claims that the entire grand jury process was contaminated by this lie. A lot of media outlets covered this move, including the Chicago Sun-Times on April 19th. Going forward, Durk's legal team will try to get him out of the box before the trial at a detention hearing set for May 8, 2025. They are putting forward a grave for Durk. This hearing is significant because it represents another opportunity to go back to living on the streets while he awaits the trial date in October. We must consider what might happen to Durk in the event that he is convicted of these murder allegations to fully comprehend how dire his current circumstances are. Durk might face life in prison for more serious accusations. The death penalty is still a long way off, but some legal experts have even raised the prospect of it. The bail package includes ankle tracking, round-the-clock protection, $1 million in cash, $1,900K in real estate, and $11,150K from an accomplice. Savia Robinson's mother, Andrea Laquila Robinson, filed the wrongful death case in February 2025, naming Durk, his business manager, his record label Only, and a linked company as defendants. According to the lawsuit, each of these people was involved in the murder that killed Robinson. Robinson's mother's lawyer, Warren Postman, remarked, "Mr. Robinson's untimely death has devastated his family and community. We filed this case to hold those involved accountable and to ensure that his family receives the assistance they need during this difficult time." This civil case adds to the criminal charges Durk is already facing, and it's not the only wrongful death lawsuit he's facing. Lakina Weekly, the mother of FBG Duck, sued Durk and King Vaughn's estate in October 2024, claiming that they were responsible for the gang-related shooting that killed her son on August 4, 2020 in Chicago's Gold Coast while he was shopping. The lawsuit also includes the label, the City of Chicago, Dolce & Gabbana, 2 private security firms, and the 6 individuals already convicted of the shooting earlier in 2024 are accused of being outright criminals who knew about King Vaughn's feud with FBG Duck and profited from the violence. Roosevelt Allen III, the mother of FBG Duck, went hard when discussing the case, saying, "Without a doubt, Lil Durk, OTF King Var Oblak, a criminal organization, could never have achieved international fame and become so emboldened to kill a rival musician without the publicity, distribution, and financial support that these record labels provided them." But wait, aside from the wrongful death lawsuits and the murder-for-hire case, Prosecutors have also accused Durk of putting money on people's heads for other murders, including the death of a witness's family member, and they haven't been formally charged yet. But they have raised the case's controversy and contributed to the according to court documents. Prosecutors believe that a January 2022 murder was connected to retaliation for the death of Durk's brother Dang, who was killed outside a strip club in June 2021. According to a federal informant, Lil Durk was and is allegedly offering money for people to kill those responsible for his brother's murder, specifically offering to pay for any gangster disciple that is killed. Given Durkio's history with the law, prison, and prior legal troubles, many people find it understandable. Lil Durk had already had a lengthy run-in with the law before his arrest in October 2024. His first major run-in with the system occurred back in 2011 when he was caught in a case for a weapons charge. The specifics of this case are a little unclear, with some sources speculating that the 3 months may have simply been pre-trial detention. According to the streets, he served about 3 months for having a pole with the serial number scraped off. 2 years later, on July 18, 2013, Durk was taken off the streets after being arrested on June 5th for allegedly throwing a loaded .40 caliber handgun into his car when police approached him on South Green Street in Chicago. He was charged with unlawful use of a weapon by a felon and placed on $100,000 bond. His lawyer would later claim to have 9 affidavits from witnesses attesting to Durk's innocence, one of whom also acknowledged that the gun was his. These early legal issues. A few months before his arrest in October 2024, Durk announced on social media that all of his criminal convictions had been cleared, saying, "Everyone should get second chances at life." This was not the only time he openly talked about wanting to mend his ways. What you do with it matters. Thank God, there are no more cases on my record. I am no longer a felon. Who would have guessed? I would like to express my gratitude to everyone who supported my vision. You have my sincerest gratitude. He reaffirmed his commitment to Islam and distanced himself from gangbanging by writing, "Don't label me anything outside of a man, a father, and a 1000% Muslim," before adding, "I don't gangbang, I'm a Muslim," in a follow-up post. Basically, I was saying in words in my post that you can't do both and be the one saying it. So if you follow me as a brother, friend, or icon, you'll be the one to follow me to my next phase of life when I rap or make music based on what I've seen and experienced. Durk's actions to give back to the community supported these statements of personal transformation. In 2020, he established the Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, a non-profit organization focused on social justice, education, and community development initiatives that aims to empower and uplift individuals working to bring positive change to their neighborhoods. One of Durk's most creative philanthropic choices was his decision to donate music bread to support his Durk's legal troubles persisted in spite of these commendable initiatives. And he declared that a percentage of the proceeds from his song Bedtime would be donated directly to his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation. He also teamed up with Amazon Music to establish the Durk Banks Endowment Fund, a college tuition program that offers Chicago children's scholarships to Howard University, which brought in a substantial amount of money, including a $250,000 donation to Howard's financial aid program, the Grace Grant. Prosecutors reportedly submitted a sealed exhibit outlining these rule violations to argue against Durk being released before trial, and he has been in custody for about 6 months at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Los Angeles, where he has been breaking jail rules, specifically by making unauthorized 3-way phone calls despite these challenges. Active in his music business from behind bars on March 18, 2025. Rolling Stone reported that his team announced the upcoming album Deep Thoughts, scheduled for release on March 28, 2025, with an AI-generated trailer on the album cover that showed Durk from the pen in a graffiti jail cell, declaring that the streets still need me, indicating his determination to continue to have an impact despite his imprisonment. Durk's communications from On November 1, 2024, he allegedly spoke from prison on Hypno Caro's song Where Smirk Go, which featured a phone call from a federal correctional facility in which Durk was spitting Hypno Caro, my brother from another, forever legend, off, Only the family and I take your streets over. You know what time it is. Rest in peace. The social media response was mixed, with some people wondering if it was actually him and speculating that it might be fake or artificial intelligence-generated hypno. Caro has been one of Durk's most vocal supporters during his legal drama as a day one homie. Ashley Banks, who worked with Durk on Let's Get It in 2012, praised Durk for exhibiting resilience and inspiring others, highlighting his influence on the drill scene by mentioning lyrical Macaulay. Other supporters include Young Chop, a pioneering Chicago drill producer who recalled their time in Atlanta and Durk's role in putting on other artists from the city. Caro, a collaborator, held Durk down and highlighted their shared history, highlighting what he sees as Durk's positive influence. While Durk has his supporters, he also has his detractors. For instance, in February 2025, Robinson filed a wrongful death lawsuit, claiming Durk was responsible for funding the hit that killed her son in August 2022. And in October 2024, the mother of Lasher Weekly FBG Duck filed a lawsuit, claiming Durk was involved in the 2020 murder of her son. His former manager claims the accusations are out of character and that he has been publicly disparaging him every week. It's to note that Quando Rondo, who was at the center of the case surrounding his cousin's death, called for the end of the beef in a peace-seeking Instagram post on October 27, 2024, after growing upset over Durk's lyrics that referenced her son and recently confronted him about his tribute at a concert. We didn't get into this music industry to make it just to stay caught up in the street. Families and communities rely on each of us. We've already lost so much, and it's difficult for me to forgive everyone I had problems with in the past. It's time to move on from all of that. I used to offer loving prayers for everyone. Despite Durk's change of heart, the Chicago rapper isn't getting the same attention from the law, and the evidence against him could have him cooked, especially with people actively testifying against him. The main legal issue centers on an alleged murder-for-hire plot that dates back to August 2022 in Los Angeles. This position is less about supporting or opposing Durk, and more about fostering healing. Los Angeles prosecutors claimed Lil Durk orchestrated a hit song that killed Savia Robinson, better known as Lou Pab, the cousin of rapper Quando Rondo. They said that this was revenge for the 2020 murder of King Vaughn, an artist and close friend of Durk, by Quando Rondo's cronies. Durk is specifically accused of conspiracy to commit murder for pay, using interstate facilities for murder for hire that results in death and firearm violations. If convicted, he faces a life sentence in jail, with some judges considering, according to court filings, the case's abundance of evidence, roughly 230 gigabytes of digital data, including surveillance footage, audio and video recordings, and more than 20,000 pages of reports about violent acts, witness statements, photographs, and medical records, highlights the case's complexity. Prior to the attack, Durk's accomplices apparently moved from Chicago to California, according to flight and bank records, and there is surveillance footage that shows him in the prosecution's use of song lyrics, as evidence is the most controversial aspect of the case. On April 18, 2025, Durk's attorneys filed a petition to dismiss, claiming that the prosecution had used lyrics from a song that was recorded 7 months before the shooting as proof of premeditation, thus playing the grand jury. They assert that any changes made to the song after filming came from fan-edited YouTube videos unrelated to Durk. On August 18, 2022, the podcast clip was shot at a rental home in Encino. Experts like Eric Nielsen have criticized the use of lyrics as literal confessions, a tactic that is extremely sloppy in instances comparable to the main murder-for-hire case. This evidence controversy underscores the intricacy of the case. The song was altered following the shooting to incorporate audio from news footage of Quando Rondo's response, the prosecution argues. Durk is featured in Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, which they say was taped a long time before the tragedy. Stefan Mack is accused of killing Durk's brother Dang outside a strip club in June 2021, which is the second killing described. Two individuals, Anthony Montgomery Wilson, also known as AJ, and Preston Powell, also known as JB Marley, were accused of a murder-for-hire scheme, according to court documents. The charges have not yet been filed, but they have been mentioned at detention hearings and give the prosecution's case a lot of weight. She accused him of placing money on people's heads for other killings, including one that targeted a witness's family member and was dropped in Chicago in 2022. JB Marley is still at large, and AJ is in jail in relation to Mac's killing. There is a $10,000 prize for information that results in his apprehension. The alleged text exchanges that AJ and JB Marley exchanged, in which AJ appears to have talked about getting paid by Durk, are what make this connection particularly damning. Reddit users have noted that AJ was seen during Lil Durk's AHA music video shoot, which was released less than a month after Mac was smoked, and that in one text, AJ purportedly asks, "Did Durk give you that money?" As events progress, there has been much discussion concerning potential law enforcement snitching. For example, King Yella, a Chicago rapper connected to the Gangsta Disciples, resorted to social media to attack Jam, whom some have suspected of being a rat for the authorities.
Somebody named OTF Jam, they said they've been calling him a rat, and basically he said, okay, I'm a rat. Well, watch this.
This accusation is more serious because Jam, Durk's close buddy, was freed from prison in February 2022 after spending 12 years for attempted murder. Jam has posted KCJ on social media to clear his name. When you find out on the paperwork that my artist's true name is Hester, or Jam, don't give me a weird twist. Jam he was catching murderers at the time, and Jam confirmed in an interview that Durk did bless him with bread when he left. Jam accused Durk of dry snitching on him in a track posting, saying, "I'm a rat or a snitch, but I'm always rapping snitch on myself." Jam was referencing Van's song, Back Again, in which Durk spits out, "Get out that Jam, I give him
Fact. But so can you tell us how much he gave you, or you don't want to even know?
No, I ain't gotta give him all that, but bro made sure he made a way for me to be straight.
Jam asserts that police started watching Durk closely after he disclosed his prior job in the song. Win, an affiliate, took to Instagram to accuse people of working with the police, posting images of men named Marlon Kirsch and Karen Hollins, along with a wire on these claims. He then posted who snitched on whom. He snitched on me in a song, followed by the words, "Oh, he's catching murders. Let's get him the snitching accusations within Durk's circle." Since wiretapping informants suggest that police may have recorded talks, Durk would have been in hot trouble for a variety of infractions. The claim that Durk was caught on video talking about King Vaughn's previous work is especially significant, as in August 2022, authorities were able to connect 3 bodies to King Vaughn, including the 2-year-dead female assassin, Kay. The question of the source of the information is raised by this timing, came from and led to these attributions. The use of lyrics as evidence in criminal trials has been highly controversial in the music business. Ever since Durk's case exposed this questionable practice, serious questions concerning artistic expression versus following the law literally are raised by the defense's assertion that the song Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy was recorded long before the occurrence, and that prosecutors utilized it as evidence of premeditation. Hip-hop's complexity as an art form is overlooked by critics like Eric Nielsen, who contends that treating artistic expression as literal confessions is a very careless practice. As Durk's case develops, it touches on intricate topics, such as the use of artistic expression as proof in other well-known cases, such as Young Thug's RICO prosecution, concerns about loyalty and snitching in close-knit communities, as well as accusations of a connection between the music industry and criminal activity. In addition to Durk's Grammy-winning rendition of All My Life with J. Cole, the ongoing legal dispute has attracted a lot of attention because of its broader implications for how the system interacts with hip-hop culture. Durk's standing as a benefactor who established the Neighborhood Heroes Foundation and contributed to educational. His case is complex, as evidenced by his early legal troubles with weapons charges and his current situation, which speaks to broader themes about trying to establish legitimate accountability and the challenges of leaving the streets behind, even after becoming well known in the industry. He is also accused of planning murders to further larger schemes. To view more videos, like this one, click on the cards that are currently playing on your screen.